Today on the podcast, we're talking to some of our OG, original gangster CrossFitters, some of the CrossFitters who've been a part of our community for many years. And we're going to be trading our favorite stories of yesteryear, the funniest things we've seen at CrossFit Edwardsville, the dumbest things we've seen at CrossFit Edwardsville, and what has changed for the better at CrossFit Edwardsville over the years. It's a little bit of a throwback Thursday episode, so stick around for some fun and funny stories.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston. Really excited to have you here. But this is where we really want to learn from our CFE coaches. We've got a couple of those here on the call with us today. We got Coach, the originator, Coach G. Skelly himself. And then we've also got Coach Kelsey. We'll do some intros here in just a moment. But really, the idea with the podcast here is we want to learn from our CFE coaches. We want to learn more about our CrossFit Edwardsville CFE CrossFitters themselves, as well as occasionally we have conversations with local business owners here in the Glen Carbon, Edwardsville, Glen Ed area. But today on the podcast, I'm actually super excited because we're going to do a little throwback Thursday conversation. And we have so many of our folks on the call with us here. Looks like maybe we just lost one in a moment, but he'll be back. That's all right. But we got quite a few folks with us. We got what we want to do with this is we want to talk to some of our more experienced CrossFitters here at CFE. We're going to share some stories. We're going to share some perspective. I'm sure we're going to share a couple of dad jokes. And we really want to see, though, how CFE has changed over the last 10 years. And hopefully that's going to help us all understand a little bit more and appreciate a little bit more how CFE operates. So as I mentioned, I am your co-host. I'm Dallas Amston. I am the founder of the Men of Faith and Fire movement. I have a podcast of the same name, Men of Faith and Fire. And really what I do is I help Christian dads who are battling burnout. I help them get on point and on fire in their faith, with their families, and in their businesses. But I have the opportunity today to have a conversation with, like I said, a few of our original gangsters of the CrossFit community. One of our first ones here, you know her already from previous ones, but it's Coach Kelsey Albers. She actually started at CrossFit at CFE on September 19th of 2012. Did you know we had the full date here, Kelsey?
I was really surprised when I saw that in the show notes.
And soon after that, she was actually part of the CFE competitive team. She trained here until she moved away in late 2014, but she's also still one of our most trusted nutrition advisors. And then one of our other guests today, Coach Kelsey, by the way, let me first say, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back. I'm going to put regular contributor, regular correspondent to the CFE podcast on my resume, just so you all know.
And LinkedIn.
You totally should. So one of our other guests here today is Danimal Yarger. He started at CFE, get this, Dan, on December 17th of 2012. So you came in just a couple months after Coach Kelsey there. You've been CrossFitting with us ever since. According to G. Skell here, he says you are one of the smartest, funniest, and most popular CrossFitters among those fortunate enough to know you and train you. Did you know that about yourself?
I'm definitely the most popular. I don't know about the smartest, though.
Well, you're also the proud owner of the only standard no hood CFE sweatshirt that was ever made. So that puts you in rare air, as they say. Right. And you've also helped build, fix, and advise on dozens of structural projects we've had here at CFE, including the infamous FTME OCR walls and our gym's sound systems. Can you, for those of us who don't know, can you tell us what the FTME OCR walls are?
They're big walls that are heavy.
That's it. Great. Thanks, man. Really appreciate the expertise that you just brought to the table there, Danimal. And we will call him Danimal through most of this. But if you like the volume loud at CFE2, Dan's the man to thank, because he also helped with our gym sound system. Next appears Dusty back on, or have we still lost him?
I'm messaging him right now, seeing about trying to get him back online.
We'll do his introduction here in just a minute when he gets back online with us. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about the man himself, Josh Dickerson. What's up, Josh? How the heck are you?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Good, man. So Josh started at CrossFit October 20th of 2012. Honestly, I don't know that this should be
It's a good year.
OG group. This should be the
Year
Mayan
2012.
calendar group. All of you came around the Mayan doomsday, right?
We were preparing. We knew
In fact, that was actually the reason.
Yeah, you all were like, man, if the calendar is going to end, I need to get fit for whatever's coming next.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that
Josh
crazy?
Dickerson, huh?
Isn't that crazy? We had Kelsey in September, Josh in October, and then Danimal in December, same year.
Yeah,
Bananas.
it's the 2012 crew. And then Dusty has not been around for as long, but we'll talk about him when he gets back on with us. But so anyway, about Josh, Josh, you started CrossFitting in 2012. You've been CrossFitting with us since. You've developed some fame and notoriety at CFE. Didn't know if you know this.
I did not know this. Yes.
Yeah, well, so you've been part of our Versus Josh series where CrossFitters are seeking to beat Josh at either weight loss or workout volume or any other CFE challenges that are put out there. It's always a versus Josh competition. So you are the standard.
That's the standard. Yeah. If you ever needed a poster, I don't know if this face was good enough for that poster. You're gonna say, the standard we're trying to reach right here. I don't know.
Well, it
I think the word's
definitely is.
pinnacle.
The face is definitely poster worthy, Josh. But I'm not going to tell you what kind of poster it is.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Maybe milk carton.
And then finally joining us here, as always, Skelly himself, Greg Skelly. He's been CrossFitting since 2008, so he was not part of the 012 or the 012. How funny is that? The 2012 crew.
You technically weren't wrong.
That's true. But Skelly has been CrossFitting since before CrossFit Edwardsville even existed, and even years before there were any CrossFit gyms in the Metro East. Back when doing CrossFit was still considered taboo, as well as when everybody was afraid of Rabdo the Clown. So Skelly's been doing it that long, but he has remained healthy through all of it. At Washington University, he got his doctorate of physical therapy and was part of that program. And you were the gym manager, head coach, and lead workout programmer for the first 6, almost 7 years of CrossFit Edwardsville. And so anything, you're directly at fault for many of the terrible ideas over the years. So congratulations.
It's true.
And great stories we're about to tell.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'm about to hear about it.
So one of the first questions we'll ask, and again, one of our other teammates that's going to be joining us here is Dustin Harvey, and when he comes on, I'm just going to give his intro real fast because he's not here, and I can talk about him while he's not in the room. So Dusty, real fast, everybody. He started in 2015, the end of 2015. He's been CrossFitting with us since then, and he has the unique distinction of being one of only 2 CFE men to ever beat Coach G in the CrossFit Open. Dusty did it in 2017, and Justin had also beat him on a run to regionals in 2014. G, before Dusty gets back, anything you want to say about the fact that he's one of 2 men to beat you in a CrossFit Open?
It was a great race. He won it fair and square. It's awesome. I look forward to it. I'm sure he'll have a lot of stories about that too.
For sure.
I was going to make fun of Dusty before he got back and say at least he's consistent. He quit the podcast just about as quick as he quit the workout this morning. So
Wow. Wow. Man, it's
Shots fired.
so quickly. So just let's roundtable this a little bit and hear what some of you have to say. Really, the question becomes, we're going to lead to the question, why did you get started at CrossFit Edwardsville in particular? Like what made the switch there? But really what I want to know first is what kind of attracted you to CrossFit in general? So G, you've been doing it the longest. So I'm going to toss it at you first, and then we'll kind of go in sequential order of when you guys joined the gym. So G, what first attracted you to CrossFit in general?
So I had just kind of found my way into being like a gym geek and that whole gym going lifestyle. And I was doing a lot of workouts that you get for like bodybuilding and Men's Health magazines and all that. And I was looking online to try and find some exciting, different ideas because I was kind of getting burned out doing the same old bicep curls and bench press every single day. I found CrossFit.com and saw people that were just doing the most amazing things. Greg Amundsen, Chris Spieler, Jason Rabdo-Kaplan, Jason Kalipa. This was before Rich Froning hit the scene.
Sure.
It was just they were doing such cool things, and they were strong, they were athletic, they were fast, they had great endurance and stamina, and they looked awesome.
Right.
And they looked fantastic. And I was like, this is intriguing to me. And that's where I found out about CrossFit and started messing around with just doing a here and there Metcon in the main gym as a complete like moron, not knowing anything, just trying to piece together on my own. So that's how I got started in CrossFit.
You always, I'm saying you being the proverbial you, we always look kind of silly when we first are like, hey, I'm going to try one of these Metcons at my Globo gym. And everybody's going to be like, what the heck is this person doing? Because there were definitely some times that I would, for me, I would go on like an Instagram feed and see like the watt of the day or something like that on certain feeds. And I would go, I look kind of ridiculous jumping over this bar and doing burpees and then doing a rowing machine. And everybody else was like curling it up. Just, oh, look at that one little curl I'm getting. You look kind of silly in one of those gyms. So Coach Kelsey, what about you? How did you kind of first get into the CrossFit game? What first attracted you to it?
Well, I think I'm a little bit similar to G in the fact that at the end of the day, I was looking for something a little bit more exciting. I had been strength training for a few years with a personal trainer at like a robo gym. And I had done a couple of competitions like the Urban Athlon in Chicago, which is like running and like doing like big obstacles and stuff like that. So those were all things that I had done, and I was looking for something more. But I had also been in this like paleo community for several years at that point. And the one thing I understood about people who ate paleo was that they also did CrossFit. So I was like, I'm missing something here. So I needed to find a CrossFit gym. And I had been searching, like I would randomly just go search for CrossFit gyms in the area every couple of weeks. And then one day, finally, CrossFit Edwardsville popped up. And I was like, okay, there we go. So I reached out, and the rest is sort of history, because there's one thing that G's great at is once somebody shows interest in the gym, he's like, yes, I will take you in. we will do this. And so I think even at that point, once I reached out, there was really no choice as to whether or not I would join and become super fanatical.
So really your first experience in CrossFit actually came with CrossFit Edwardsville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Very cool.
That's true for everybody here, I think, except for Dusty.
Okay. Well, he doesn't count because he's not here right now.
That's right.
Josh, what about you, man? Obviously CFE was your first experience, but what first attracted you to the CrossFit world?
Yeah, so kind of a funny, I guess we'll call it a funny story. My background is I had done about 3 marathons. So I was a marathon runner before I started CrossFit Edwardsville.
Okay.
And, after I had finished my 3rd marathon I did, it was the Seattle Marathon. I finished it, but at the end kind of had some knee problems and some other things. So I was kind of, down and out for about 6 months trying to recover from that and going through some physical therapy. And then the physical therapist was kind of telling me what was going on. And she asked me, she says, do you really like marathons? Like, is that something you love to do? And I was like, well, no, not really. I mean, it's something to do, it's something I can work towards. It keeps me motivated. And she's like, well, the way that your bone structure kind of is, you're probably going to be coming to physical therapy after every race if you continue on. So I was like, okay, all right. So maybe I need to find something else. And so I got in a conversation with one of my coworkers, and she was getting ready to get married in 6 months. And she said, I need to get in shape. So me and my husband just started this CrossFit thing. We've heard that, that's the way to lose weight, get strong, and look good for our wedding photos. And I was like, what's CrossFit? I never heard of anything like that. And so I'm Googling this up, and they work in St. Louis. So the gym that they went to was in St. Charles, Missouri. And I'm like, I'm going to drive all the way to St. Charles, Missouri just to try this out. So I Googled around, and I found out there was near me CrossFit Edwardsville. And I said, well, that's convenient. I don't have to drive all the way to St. Charles, Missouri. I can just go, down the road here. I live in Edwardsville, and try it out. And so I met with Greg and Caroline, and I still remember that first. I don't know how I stuck with it after that first class, but I remember throwing those wall balls up against the old gym, which, you know, it's not where it's located right now, up on the top in front of the glass windows, throwing those out at about 5 a.m. in the morning, going, what am I doing at 5 a.m. throwing these wall balls up there? But I stuck with it and have been enjoying it since then. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit my background. So I guess for me, I was more of a runner turned CrossFitter. I guess you would call me.
I have to give it to your therapist how she was trying to do a little bit of a subtle sell there of like, hey, maybe you want to keep running and keep coming back and working on your various knees and ankle problems.
Exactly. I can get some business going there. She's like, you know, we can get you through it, but probably every time. And I was like, you know what? I don't really love marathons that much.
Right.
Something else. So yeah.
Well, and G Skell and I can both easily tell you what we think of running long distances too.
I do it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, it must be done. Danimal, let's throw it at you, man. What about you? How did you first get started? I see you wearing your Fittest Team shirt here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right? Yeah, Fittest Team. We'll talk about that in a minute. But tell us first what first got you interested and involved in CrossFit.
So I had at one point I had career aspirations to be a federal police officer, which have somehow I've gotten too old in the meantime. But that was originally the goal, and I'd been running, and I couldn't break through my sprint time and whatever, and I was like, I got to do something different because what I'm doing is not working.
Sure.
So that was when at the time I'd been driving by CrossFit, you know, and I'd see people outside working out in the parking lot, you know, and I was like, well, maybe there's something to this, and ended up on the website, and then I called and somehow talked to Caroline, and then all of a sudden I was in there for the free weekend intro class, and
sure,
well, you know, here we are. 8 years later.
There you go. That's awesome. We're so hey everybody, look who we got joining us. Dustin, what's up? You made it to the party.
Yeah, I'm finally back. Sorry guys, had some technical difficulties with my computer, so now I'm on my phone, so we're good to go.
That's all right. So Dusty, we're talking right now here, first thing out the gate. I already did your intro, and I already sang your praises of the fact that you're one of only 2 guys to beat G in an open workout. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Well, so to clarify, he didn't just beat me in an open workout. He beat me in the whole damn open.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, don't discount
lots of people
Dusty's
beat me
achievement.
like it. Lots of people have beat me on a weekend, but only 2 at this gym have ever beat me on the whole freaking thing.
So, G, let me ask you, how's that silver medal feeling?
Oh, let's not talk about that. Let's not. Oh, send it to Dusty.
And I'm pretty sure I'm back-to-back open champs. So I think I did it in 2016 and 2017.
Uh-oh.
Did I have it wrong? You did it more than once?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because I think 2016 was when Wade was there, right? And then he pulled out for the last workout or something. He pulled hurt his back or something. So that's what kind of.
Well, Dusty, I mean that was 2016 and 2017. What have you done for us lately, man?
I'm pretty sure my name's on the banner for 2019.
Oh, I'm just messing with you, dude.
I couldn't beat him. So I had to join him. So I got him on my team for the Open that year.
Is that how that works?
There are names on that banner that don't even go to CrossFit anymore. So you know, I don't know if I'd put myself up there.
That's hilarious. Well, hey, Dusty, let's toss it at you here. We've all been talking about how we first got started.
Yeah,
CrossFit in general, as well as how that transformed into being at CrossFit Edwardsville. But what about you? What's your CrossFit story?
So back in I'm gonna say 09 or 10, my ex-brother-in-law, he told me about it. He was like, because he was overseas and in the military, and he found it over there, and he actually he's the one who introduced it to Shane McBride, and I don't know if you know who that is. But he's a local box owner, and he made it to regionals many years in a row. So he came back, he told me about it. He's like, dude, there's this thing called CrossFit, it's really awesome. He's like, just go to CrossFit.com, and there, so I did that, and I'm like, I'm here. I see all these words. I see all these numbers. I have no idea what this means. So I'm like, screw it. I'm out. I didn't take the time to look up like any of the videos or like any of the instructional stuff or what have you. And I just threw it off to the side. So screw it. Then 2012, I think, like that's when I saw like the games like on TV, and I'm like,
Sure.
oh, that's CrossFit. That's cool. Like I want some of that in my life. So then, yeah, 2012, I think it was like, I want to say like September, like late August, early September or something. That's when I was going to a global gym at the time, and I started doing it there. So then I did it for like 6.5 months on my own. Figured out, I figured out like handstand push-ups, butterfly pull-ups,
Sure.
all that stuff like on my own. And then so whenever like when I finally joined a CrossFit gym in like March-ish of 2013.
And were you here in the St. Louis area during that, or did you?
Yeah, I was in it was like, I think it was like the Glen Carbon, Eversville. It was off of 270
Okay.
and like 157 like back.
So what made the switch happen for you to start coming over to CFE here, CrossFit Edwardsville?
Yeah, so I joined in late 2015, and I was originally
He heard rumors that he'd be able to beat the owner of the gym.
Yeah, there were whispers. There were whispers happening. No, so I met Greg. Doing the fittest team, and then so I'd coached recently. I bounced around from a couple of gyms in the area, and so I was at like my third gym at the time, and I previously coached at another gym, and I texted Greg and I was like, hey man, like I know you have like the hookup, like I mean I know you know everybody in the area, and I was like wondering if you needed if you knew anybody who needed a coach, because I was interested in get back into it. And he's like yeah man, like call me up. And so he gave me his number, and so I called him, and he told me like that I could potentially I could shadow and come check out the gym. Okay. And so that's originally how I came to be there. And so then, but
the rest is history.
Yeah. I got lost in the shuffle, and life happened. And I basically I went down another avenue and decided just to join and just be a member, continue down that path. And
so Dusty, let me just say this: at CFE, there's no lost in the shuffle. You didn't get lost in the shuffle. You're a rock star, dude. Everybody loves you. I am going to ask though, because you mentioned it. I think Danimal or Josh, I can't remember who mentioned it there. Several of you have alluded to this idea of the fittest team in the Metro East. So let's talk about that a little bit. Skelly, why don't you kind of introduce the idea to us, and then we'll let everybody who was part of that competition kind of share a story or two or something funny to tell about it. So talk to us about it, Skelly. What was the fittest team in the Metro East?
So we took pride in trying to be on the forefront of everything CrossFit from the get-go.
Yeah.
And early on, we recognized that hosting local competitions was going to be a thing. So we created this thing called the Beast of the Metro East competition.
Okay.
And quickly after that, there was an explosion in local competitions. All of a sudden, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And the Beast of the Metro East it's harder to distinguish from everything else.
Right.
But we had a pattern of doing team workouts every Saturday here at CFE, and they're always a lot of fun, and people always like emotionally engaged. You bring your friends, do a workout, you share the responsibility of the workout with your friends. And I thought, how cool would it be if we actually did an entire contest that was built around the idea of a team workout. And so the fittest team in the Metro East, or FTME contest, was born from that. And it was the very first of its kind. It was before the Affiliate Cup. I think it was before the Affiliate Cup. I might be wrong about that. But it was this fresh new idea. And there are so many cool memories from that. And I'll let the others have the floor first, tell their stories. But that's where it came from.
That's fantastic. So yeah, let's table it out here. I'm going to bring us all to kind of the conversation here. Just raise your hand. Tell us a fun memory from the fittest team in the Metro East. Who'd like to go first?
Josh, you go ahead. I recently talked.
All right,
Josh has got
I'll talk. So this is alluding back to these walls that Dan built for one of the competitions. And,
which I didn't get the acronym in his introduction. I can't believe I didn't tie those together, but don't worry about it.
OCR, obstacle course race,
Yep.
OCR walls. So they're basically like 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall, sturdy as a stone rock. Like they're rigid walls, and you can use those for various exercises.
Sure.
Josh, take it away.
Yeah, Josh.
so, when we were working with, I guess we were called prototype 1 of these things. Dan had built this wooden structure that we needed to get up and over, and we set up this whole thing. And I was part of the crew that was doing the bring it up and tear it down crew and make sure it was all set up. And so one of the funny stories from that is we kind of got it set up and we kind of tapped it a little and it moved a little bit. And we're like, oh well, what is going to happen if some of these guys come running at this thing? They're not going to just kind of climb over. They're going to run at it and try to jump on over. And so Dan goes, Josh, here's something I want you to do. And I said, what? And he's like, I want you to go back there and I want you to run as hard as you can at this thing. And I want you to just throw your body into it and try to get it up and over. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll do whatever. Which is probably not a smart thing to do. So I did this. And so I go run at this thing and I get my first foot on it. And basically the whole thing like moves like almost 3 feet forward as I'm moving with it. And so I'm kind of clinging to this thing. And I think Dan, I don't know if you remember, he kind of looks up at me and he goes, yep, I think we got a structural problem here. We might need to fix this. And so I said, I'm only like 5 foot, not 5'6", 5'7". I said, these guys are going to be a lot bigger than me. If I can move it, we're going to have some issues. So
this is like, that sounds like a really bad version of a CrossFit form of cow tipping or something.
Yeah, is what it was. And so prototype 1 got turned into prototype 2, which was a lot more sturdy and ended up working out for the competition. But I do remember that specifically.
Well, and if I remember correctly, the biggest problem we had is they were sitting on that asphalt and the whole wall would slide. It wasn't that the wall was tippy. Yeah. It was that you'd throw body weight at it and then just push the wall down the hill. And it was still rigid. It was still upright. We had to like sandbag the absolute snot out of it. A lot
of sandbag and weight on it, and it worked. We got it. It worked.
Yeah.
Coach Kelsey, what about you? You got a fun story from the fittest team?
So I do remember being really mad at Dan because I knew he knew what the workouts were and he wouldn't tell me. So Dan, you're just really taking it. He did.
He had the insider information because we had a team of people, Josh included, who were responsible for being our test crew to test out the workouts ahead of time, make sure the workouts worked, the concepts worked, and all that. So Dan he would know, and because Dan is a good friend and a good teammate, he would not tell Kelsey what the workouts were.
That's not what I would call a good friend, but we can agree to disagree on that one.
That is so funny.
I was fair.
You were fair. I will agree with that.
Maybe not friendly, but I was fair.
Friends, Dan.
Dusty, what about you? Any fun little fittest team stories?
Yeah, I got a couple. So basically, like I've got 3 memories that really that stick out from the years of fittest team. So that was the fittest team was my first competition I ever did.
Yeah.
And then so I did that in 2014, 2015, and then again 2017. So two of my top memories come from 2015. Holy crap! Let me put my hat back on. So I did. It was incredible. and this 100% is on Greg, because so we did this workout that had sled push. Okay, it was, and so we had, if you know how the back of the gym works or that road goes, it kind of goes downhill a little bit, then slightly back uphill towards the gym.
So were these happening real fast? Were these happening at our current location?
Yeah.
Fittest team competition. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, there's a long run. What is that? That's 50 meters.
100 down and back.
100 meters. Okay, so so 50 meters down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sled push was 50 meters down, but it does have a slight gradation, just a little bit.
Well, no, I think we only did like 25 at a time or something, right, Greg? It was like 25
down, 25 back.
Got it.
So so it's a 3-person team. So you're having like one person like starts. You have to push high bar down, and then the other person will then do low bar push back up.
Got it.
And it was interesting because like both Scaled and RX did the same weight on the sleds. And so I remember seeing people on the scale. I did RX, and it's like I received Scaled people like flying on this thing. And so I'm like, okay, not like saying like I'm better or stronger than they were at the time. I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, it's like they're not having any issues with it, so I feel like I shouldn't either. So I went, I pushed high bar down, and then when I went to push low bar up, I wasn't making any traction whatsoever. I was slipping. I might have gotten to see, it was like 25 meters back. I might have been lucky to make it halfway. And so there's people flying by me like the whole time. And Greg, as far as he knew, I was the only person out there, because he's right in my ear. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. He's right in my ear, yelling at me to push this sled. Like, let's go, push it.
We can see him smiling right now just thinking about it.
Dude, I'm getting chill. I'm like, I'm trying. It's not for lack of effort. Like, I'm trying here. Like, I did everything I had, and Greg is red in the face, just screaming at me to push this stupid sled, and I'm like, I can't do it.
What was going on? What was happening?
It was just too heavy, I guess. I don't know if I didn't have enough weight on me, or like I have no idea what the problem was. Like, I don't know, was my shoes, what? But
G, do you have a memory of this? Can you throw in here what was your memory of that moment?
So I actually had completely forgotten about this. My recollections of the sled event were that we had the same weight for RX and Scaled, and some people came back to this and were like, that was easy as shit. They had like 20 plus reps in the time. And other people came back to me and like, the fuck were you thinking writing that workout? That's impossible. Like, this workout is too difficult. And we had the complete spectrum on that one.
Yeah, I was the what the fuck were you thinking person. Like, it was stupid. No, I wasn't thinking that. What I was thinking that on was in 2014 when we had the 2-person. So we had like 2 people like holding a front rack with a barbell, while like one person was like doing stuff, and then like another part, I think it was that same workout. It was the burpee 2-for-1, where you had like 2 people like do burpees and then jump up and touch a ring at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that was ridiculous. But the front rack was funny because there was one team, the guy was literally like 6'5", and then there was another guy who was like 5'4", and like they were like, so one dude was basically doing splits trying to hold this barbell in the front rack. But so anyway, one of my other favorite moments was that same year, 2015, where we did at the very end. So like it was a notorious thing every year. Like basically the last workout was an individual thing.
Okay.
So we did this particular year, like my portion of the last workout was like I don't know, like a 64-foot handstand walk or something. And then straight into like was like 6 like bar facing burpees and then like 3 muscle ups. And so I came in third behind like two like regional athletes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like I was only like I was 1 round behind the first place guy. And so that was 9 reps away, and I was like, holy crap, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But the thing that really upset me about that workout was when I was doing my burpees, I was asking my judge, I was like, what round am I on? She's like, you're doing good, just keep going. And I'm like, tell me what round I'm on. Like, that's the question. Like, you're not helping me. And then my third favorite moment was 2017 when it was probably our worst finish, I think. We did a snatch ladder. So like the weights progressed. I can't remember. It was like 30 reps, 20 reps, 10 reps, and then max reps. So the last barbell was like 155. And so like a year before, I did another competition where we had 155-pound snatches, and like it just tore me up. And so this year I was blasting through them. But the thing that got me so pumped was that both my teammates, like I knew they had it in them to get it. I was like carrying us through that, but my buddy Scott Wasser, who goes to CFE, he like muscle snatched it somehow, like, and I was like, okay, cool, he got it. And
Nathan Neighbor too, right?
Nathan Neighbor, yeah, he got one. I thought he was gonna have a better performance in that one, but I have there's a picture on my Facebook where right after like the workout was over with, or like I think it was like right after they each hit one, I gave this massive like fist pump, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, boys. And I didn't care 1 minute about my performance. I was so pumped that they each managed to get at least 1 rep, because I knew that they would be so bummed if they didn't, but they each got one in the bag. And
Major.
I think
major shout out to Wasser and Nathan Neighbor on that. Props.
Absolutely.
Much love to those guys.
Good job,
I think one of the cool things about CrossFit is the community element, for sure. So I think that's one of the things, and that's obviously why you all are here as part of the community element. So I'm gonna springboard off of something Dusty said there when he was talking about the sled story a few minutes ago. G, let me throw this at you, because you've been here obviously the longest since before it existed, and this is CFE is your baby in so many ways. But for you, 2-part question. Number 1, what's the dumbest thing that you thought, and you and Caroline said, boy, why in the world did we do that? But then let's switch it to the next part of it, which is really, what have you seen that you feel has changed for the better over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about the dumbest things that I've seen at CFE, they're all my fault. First up, well, mostly.
I don't know.
So,
I was going to say we could probably throw some at Sean's feet.
All right, so
some
first,
of them predate Sean.
One of the things we do at CFE a lot of the time, we do a workout, then we stick around, we do extra stuff after the workout. One of those days, one of the things we tried to do, that we did do, was you had to kick to a handstand at the wall, and the workout was who could drink a beer while upside down in a handstand first.
Oh no.
That was one.
This was a post WOD after hours.
This was a workout. Yeah. The objective was to drink a beer while upside down in a handstand. Who could do it first?
It's always important to get those carbs after the workout.
Yeah, don't forget carbs. Got to refuel the body. Second, you guys picture this, right? Load a bar like you would for a deadlift. Roll that bar up against the wall, and then use other plates to pin that bar against the wall so the bar can't roll away.
I know it's going.
Then kick to a handstand on that bar and do handstand push-ups with your hands on the bar.
Nope.
This is the workout we did.
That's
and probably like the first year. Now, we actually could do it. Some people actually could do it. It was quite amazing. It wasn't a good idea.
Right.
And third, there was a workout we had where we divided everybody into 2 teams, Team A, Team B. Each team had a pickup truck. Half of your team would be outside the pickup truck, half the team inside the pickup truck.
I remember this. Yeah.
I remember this.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Then all the medicine balls.
Everyone's reactions right now are
I
hilarious.
remember this one. Yeah.
All the medicine balls were divided between the 2 teams, and you would take all the medicine balls, put it into the bed of the truck. 3, 2, 1, go. You have 2 objectives. The people outside the truck are pushing the truck as fast as they can up the road. The other half of the people that are inside the truck, they're trying to take the medicine balls and throw them into the other truck while the trucks are moving. Can you kind of picture this?
Totally.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
while one teammate is driving the truck
Yeah, one's driving.
while
One
it's in
team is the
neutral.
truck,
In
the
neutral.
car in neutral,
What?
steering the truck. I can't imagine why we thought this is a good idea.
I would like to point out though that I remember somebody at CFE. I don't remember who it was, but their car broke down at CFE, and we had to push their car at
Yeah.
least to 157. Okay, or 159. So, like, we were really training for real life situations in that
Absolutely.
scenario.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not only that, I remember that now that Kelsey mentions it. We also, one year at the Edwardsville Halloween parade, we dressed up in Halloween costumes and we pushed a
Pushed the
truck
car.
for the entirety of the parade. And that was our float. Our float was
Wow.
pushing an actual truck. It was hilarious because we had some of the kids, like the 5-year-olds, somebody's children from CFE.
Yeah.
We put them way out in front of the truck with like a tow line. And what you
Oh,
saw
cute.
was the truck was going up the road pulled by 2 5-year-olds.
That's cute.
It was an adorable visual.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
So Kelsey, to your point real fast. So my very first workout at CFE, for those of you who don't know, I drive a Prius. I love my hybrid. Don't knock it. I had parked in the grass the day after rain,
Oh,
and my
no.
Prius got stuck the day after rain. And so very first workout, I'm out there trying to push it. The next class is starting to jog around the block. And I was like, hey, can any of you guys help me? And there was a look on Greg's face like, really, newbie? We got to do this first game?
Now, was it your first like class WOD or was it your first like on ramp class?
No, it was my first class WOD. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next class had just started. But so, G, what do you think has changed for the better at CFE? Like, we do this differently now, and thank God for that.
There's a lot that we do differently now. One that comes to mind for me is that we now have a structured, intelligent progression for coaches' development, developing coaches' talent. Like
Okay.
back in the day, it was like if you had a CrossFit level 1, that was pretty much sufficient for being able to coach people.
Sure.
So, looking back, that just seems so silly to us now because coaching is a professional job, requires professional training, professional development. So that's one. That's different, and thank God for that. That's changed for the better, especially for me as a GM, as CEO, having a much more robust team. I don't need to do everything, and I don't need to completely like wear myself into the ground like I used to. A fun story about the Beast of the Metro East, which was the very first competition that we ever hosted at CFE.
Yeah.
You guys know Chuck Blakeman, right?
Yeah.
Chuck, also one of the OGs of CrossFit. He can tell you the story better than I can. At the end of the very first Beast of the Metro East event, when it was all said and done, lights go down. We finally closed the gym. The event's been successfully completed. I had worked for like 2 or 3 straight days to make everything happen for that event, and I collapsed from exhaustion. Just collapsed from exhaustion, and Chuck had to cart me out and take me home and pretty much like put me to bed because I was done. I was exhausted. I everything that I could possibly give, I gave and was done.
I believe that.
Life is
100%.
easier now.
So,
Yeah.
always fun to hear when you get worn out, because we know you've done a bunch at that point. So I'm going to throw one last question at everybody. I'm going to kind of rapid fire this though. what do you miss from the past? And what would you bring back if you could? Let's just rapid fire it. We're close to the end of our time here. So around the horn real fast. And G, I'm actually going to start with you because you can kind of set the pace for this. But then I'm just going to go around real fast. What do you miss and what would you bring back if you could? G, what is it?
I miss the absolute terror and the thrill that it was being an entrepreneur, just finally hitting gold with something that worked. Like, I think you guys know, just in case you don't, like I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old, and Liner was the first person that I ever hired to work for my very first business. But it wasn't until CFE happened that we started CFE and we experienced what it's like for something to build something that has a meteoric rise and becomes something really big and special, something that kind of lives and breathes and matters beyond myself. And I have a soft spot for those days when we were experiencing that explosive growth and everything was an adrenaline rush and we were meeting and building this thing with the most amazing people, many of whom are here in this conversation and who are still like forever friends with us. So
yeah, for sure.
That's what I remember, that thrill.
That's awesome. What about you, Danimal? What do you got here? And then Dusty will toss it at you.
I miss some of the people. I miss hanging out with like some of the people that have, moved away, and Kelsey.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, Kelsey. But there's just a lot of people that have that we've crossed paths doing this thing called CrossFit over the last almost decade now. So it's just kind of funny. Some of them have moved on, some of them have done other things, and it's just but those are the people. You may show up for the workout, but you stay because of the people.
Yeah, for sure. Dusty, what about you, man? And then we'll toss it at Josh.
I would like to say I wish for my a little more of my youth. I might say I wish for my competitive drive to be back, but I miss the newness of it. Like Greg, that green Rogue shirt I was wearing earlier today for our workout. That was one of two of my that was part of my first ever Rogue purchase back in 2013. I miss sitting down watching regionals for the first time. I miss going to the new CrossFit gym for the first times, for those first couple of months. And when I got my first pair of nanos, my first pair of lifters, my first pair of wrist wraps.
We all remember our first pair of shoes, for sure.
I think about that all the time. Like I wish I could go back to those days,
Back when you could beat me in a workout.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. I could back then, but
I get that, man. That's a good one, Dusty. Kind of the newness, but the one great thing about CrossFit is even though it might not feel new to you anymore, it's never boring, and that's kind of one of the parts about it is you can always expect that there'll be something different all the time. So, Josh, what about you? What's some of those things you miss from the past, and then we'll throw it at Kelsey.
Yeah, so unfortunately, everybody's kind of stolen a lot of good ones so far. But yeah, I kind of miss. You used to back in the day, you got to know your group. Like, oh, I'm the 615 group. I kind of got that group, and now there's just so many people coming in and going that you just kind of be like, and instead of being the people, you just are one of the standard. I'm one of those standard 615 people, that shows up.
Yep.
I kind of miss some of that, and then I also miss a lot of. And just the feeling when I'll tell you back, when I first started CrossFit, I never weightlifted at all. Like I was a runner. Like I knew I can tell you all about pacing and I can tell you about that. So that first time I ever did
physical therapy.
Physical therapy. I figured out how to do that. Yeah, exactly. So the first time I ever figured out and did a clean and did it with proper form, the first time I ever did a thruster, I realized like, man, am I ever going to do a thruster? Or doing things like a muscle up, the first time I got that and just that aha moment of like, oh, this is form, and trying to understand these things. So I miss a lot of those.
Sure.
And then I also miss my youth, like Dusty said, I can push a little bit harder back in the day. So I miss a lot of those things. And what's changed about that is instead of looking for firsts anymore, I'm looking at, I've done my first. But how can I improve not just on those things, but in all aspects of my life? What else can I improve?
Yeah,
there's still more firsts out there. There's still more things to figure out. So though I missed a lot of my first, I'm looking forward to the new first.
That's good. What about you, Coach Kelsey? What do you got as far as something you miss?
So we moved away and now I work out in my garage by myself and I miss the people. I miss the community so much. Like Dan mentioned, like back when CFE was pretty small and pretty new, like we had like everybody knew each other and it was just this really tight knit group. And then life happens and people go, people move on, people move away. And, but I will always remember with fondness those few years. And I tell you what, like I have lifelong friends because of my time there. So, I miss it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah.
So just one last question for you all. We're going to round table one more real fast, rapid fire response. And this is important for those who are just starting to come to CrossFit Edwardsville. What advice would you give to someone just starting out at CFE? And actually, Kelsey, I'm going to start with you on this one. What advice would you give to somebody? And then we'll go to Dusty after that.
My advice would be open-minded, but also listen to your intuition. Like the coaches are smart. So if they're programming something that you're not comfortable with, or you don't know how to do, or you want to scale into, listen to your intuition and do that and tell the coach and they will be your advocate and they will help you.
For sure. That's good. Dusty, and then we'll throw to Josh.
3 P's, man. Progressions. Are you kidding me? I just blanked on the second one.
Dusty now has the 1 P.
No. Progressions, patience, progress.
Yep.
You know, if you're when you come in, hit the progressions, have patience. You know, don't if you want to compete, take your time. CrossFit's always going to be there, you know, and then eventually, you know, once you have those first 2 P's, progress will come.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Love it.
And one of the things to everybody that he didn't say in those P's, as he thought about all of them, was he didn't say perfection. We always talk about moving with excellence, but there's no perfection in this. You don't have to do that. So
Absolutely.
Josh, what about you, man? What advice would you give to someone starting out? And then we'll throw it at the Danimal.
Yeah. So one of the big things that it was important to me was that I take it slow. So with everything that you're doing, don't try to jump in and be like, oh, you know, everybody around me is lifting this sort of weight, and maybe I should be doing that too. You know, I started with the PVC pipe. I mean, that's where I had to start because that bar was a little heavy when I first started. I said, so take it slow. And even though I've been doing this now for 8 years, I still listen to my coaches when it comes to form. Because, I mean, I've got those forms down like that, but sometimes when I get a little bit tired, I'll get out of form. And what my coaches are doing for me is they're making sure I'm not going to get hurt, that I'm not going to hurt myself in the long run. So my first thing, start slow, keep it slow. You will make it there, and always listen to your coaches, especially when they're correcting you.
Yeah.
If it feels like, oh, that hurts, it's probably because, you know, you haven't been doing it right the whole time. So you need to start doing it right. So always listen to your coaches and just keep it going slow. And you'll
kind of stole what I said, but all right.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, I like what you said. I like the way you put it.
I remember Josh, Coach Sean said something to me he did a form correction, I don't know, a week and a half or so ago. And I was like, well, that feels awkward. And he says, because you've never done it right.
You've never done it right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about you, Danimal? What advice do you got?
I would tell somebody, you know, just trust the process. You know, I think it's real easy to want to get ahead of yourself and get ahead, you know, do things you shouldn't do. And I think that goes whether you're new or whether you're coming back from, you know, maybe taking some time off. I know a lot of people, you know, especially in the last year, have maybe taken 3, 4, 5 months off their physical fitness plan because of whatever. And, you know, this thing called COVID, if anybody's heard of it.
Nope.
But, you know, if you're coming back, don't think that you're going to come back where you were when you left.
For sure.
Even if you're starting something new, don't think, well, well, I can run a mile in 6 minutes, so I can do this, you know, it's just different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to say it. What about you, G Scale? What's your final advice for anyone starting out?
Enjoy the journey. Just show up consistently and enjoy the journey. If you're here 3 to 5 times a week consistently, You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. Just showing up, following the guidance of your coaches, and just trying your best to really like enjoy the journey. Have fun, tell some dad jokes, fist bump, well, proverbially speaking, fist bump some people when it's all said and done, like vibe off people around you, have fun with it. Don't be so serious. And if you do that, the whole thing becomes self-reinforcing. You know what I mean? Enjoy the journey. Don't rush it.
That's for sure. Well, everybody, that's kind of our time for today. Thank you. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and just pop everybody on screen here. Thank you so much, Coach Kelsey. Thank you for joining us. Josh, thank you. Dusty, Danimal, as always, Skelly, appreciate you guys joining us for this conversation. I think we had some good laughs. I definitely think we're going to need to do this again and dive deeper into some of these stories that I know you all have. But everybody,
absolutely, yeah, I'm down.
So everybody, if you want to reach out to Skelly, you can actually reach him on social media at CrossFit Edwardsville, and that's on Instagram as well as Facebook. You can reach out that way. But the other way to reach us is to go to our website, CrossFitEdwardsville.com. You can request to join a class there. There's ebooks available for you there. A few of our previous podcast episodes, we've talked about those, but we've got great coaches like Coach Kelsey here that joined us today. We've got a team they are invested in your success and in your health and in your fitness journey. So feel free to reach out to us at CrossFitEdwardsville.com. And again, everybody, OG squad here, we're excited to have you. And thank you again for joining us. And for those of you who've joined us either in the audio version or on the video version, we appreciate you taking the time with us. As I always like to say, go out there and have a championship day.
Bye, guys.
See just how sturdy Kelsey's ceiling is as soon as one of them comes falling through.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
All of a sudden, there's like a leg hanging down.
Last time we were on the podcast, Dallas, like he had his kids in the other room, and it got real silent. We're like, should we keep this podcast going?
Yeah.
And the house burned down, or do we go ahead and abort right now? So
I just kept muting because they were asking me questions. My wife was at yoga, and I was like, go away.
Caroline almost did an accidental cameo last time too, because she came and she knocked on the door right here, and she had no idea we were recording. And Dallas is practically shouting through the screen at her that she should come join this podcast. But you don't know. You have to book Caroline like 3 weeks in advance to get any shot with Caroline.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be a very special guest when we get Caroline to join us.
That's good times. Yeah.
Well, I want everyone to know that my official candle of illumination is ready. So I'm.
Who else? Who
Smells
else is
good.
sporting one? I got it right here.
Nice.
This is Lemon Love.
Oh, I got it.
Candle.
Mine is eucalyptus rain.
Oh, there you go, Dusty.
Yep, I'm in. Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh, Kelsey's going to be the only person on this call not to have.
I
have
refuse to believe that.
small children. We have no candles in the house that I burn.
No way.
I have a tape measure.
But
I
I
don't
have a
believe
tape
you,
measure.
Kelsey. There's no way.
I have my essential oils that I diffuse. So
There you
I
go.
am.
Yeah, do that.
I'm doing a grounded chakra today. So I'm very grounded.
That's good.
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I have a tape measure and around a 9 millimeter. So whatever.
It'd be a test for Kelsey to see how grounded she can stay when the kids are trampling things upstairs.
Hey, Dan.
My chakra was misbehaving yesterday, so I grounded him too.
Hey, Dan. When was your last desk pop?
Desk pop?
Yeah, desk pop.
You know what? I've never had one. Not at my desk.
Now's as good a time to do it, man.
Yeah, right in the middle of the podcast when it's recording. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to know what Josh has got going on over there. I saw him get up.
So I have from the bathroom a nice lavender and vanilla.
Ooh, that's good.
No candles. It does smell pretty good. I feel it's lining some sort of chakra in me, but I can't tell you which one.
Yeah.
That's pretty good though. Yeah, I like
That's
it.
hilarious.
I don't know what my flavor is. Mine came in a 2-pack, so like I think I threw the package away, but I think it's like vanilla, like Hawaiian apple or something, or maybe Hawaiian vanilla. I don't know, something like that.
All right.
It smells delicious though.
Kelsey, you've seen those little wax blocks, right? Like you can just melt the wax and it scents and there's no flame. You might
Mhm.
consider that with your kids. Did
Oh,
you-
I've got one of those.
I just do essential oils. Like I'm an essential oil fiend, so I have a diffuser in pretty much every single room. So don't you worry, I have the smelly part of the house covered.
This sounds like Josh does too.
Yeah. Every plug-in that I could find, my wife has made sure there's something nice and smelly in that plug-in. So.
Hey, I'm excited to welcome all of you guys to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast here.
Woohoo!
There
Good
it
to be
is.
here.
Yep, awesome. Super excited.
Dallas usually runs the show here, so I'll let Dallas take it and run with that.
All right. So, guys, we'll get rolling here in just a second officially. But as you all saw, I was just playing with toggling you to the main screen. So as you're talking, we still want it to be very conversational and very just free form. But there'll be points where I toss it specifically to one of you. I may just say, Josh, tell us what about this story, or hey, Danimal, you got something for this. So just be aware that when that happens, I'll toss it like that. You'll come on the main screen. Don't let that throw you off. But the goal here is to have some fun. G, for this one, we want to keep this one under 30. Is that the goal?
I don't think we're gonna make it. I don't think we're gonna make it. Let's just see how it goes.
All right.
We'll let this conversation go where it may, and Dallas, I'll let you decide how structured we make this here. I trust your judgment.
All right. Okay. That sounds good. Well, let's get into it here. I'm going to go ahead and pop that up.
Sure thing. Hey, I had a pretty good opening question for everybody in here. If it's okay for me to ask right now.
Yeah.
Do we let him ask questions?
I was wondering like how everybody like came about like finding CrossFit, and then like how did you discover it, and then like when did you finally decide to like pick it up and run with it?
Yeah, that's a question I like to address too.
For
Dallas,
sure.
You want to run with the intro here, and then we'll go right into that one.
That sounds perfect. So, yep, that's what I will do. I
All
mean,
right,
I know our first like official question is why did you start at CrossFit Edwardsville? But for sure we can do the other side of it. So
Okay.
here we go, everybody.